Hello, and welcome to F Stopping by the Woods, a nature photography podcast. I'm your host, Anurup, and today I'm speaking with Sumeet Gayathri Moghe, my good friend and brilliant nature photographer. We recorded this in the Kibber village, halfway through our snow leopard expedition. As well prepared as we were, which we spoke about in an earlier conversation, a number of things caught us off guard, like me not carrying my Gaiters, and Sumeet not packing his 2x teleconverter. This conversation is about how we could have been better prepared to cope with the altitude and temperature and take better photos. It has some useful tips on winter wildlife travel to places that have sub-zero temperatures. So Sumeet, happy to be in Kibber, and we've had a great 5 days. Snow leopards, wolves, ibex, varal, snowcock, and every one of these five has been a lifer for me. So good to be chatting about this. So I thought we'll have a quick discussion on some of the real watch outs we've had in terms of, despite our best preparations, we've been surprised by a few practical aspects of this trip. And just to give everyone a sense, it's minus 8 degrees now, and this is the warmest it's ever been, right? So I thought Sumeet and I can just get on a quick conversation about some of the things that have caught us off guard and give everyone some practical tips on how to plan better if you're visiting Kibber. Starting off with apparel.
Well, there are a few things that are just gimmies, right? You need a warm jacket.
Yeah.
You need to have layers. And I think most of us know this about visiting cold places, right?
Yeah.
A very quick search on Google will give you these answers. Layering up is your best friend because sometimes it does get warm despite the fact that it's sub-zero.
Yeah.
And you have a hat, you have good gloves, you have good pants and a jacket and some inners, and you're sorted. Bob's your uncle.
The one thing about layers I'd like to mention though is that the quality of layers is very important. You don't want to bring a large number of inner thermals or a large number of fleeces. As long as you have one good fleece which serves the purpose, one good inner thermals which serve the purpose, which you can wear over a period of time. One of the things that I got wrong is that I thought I'll get, say, 4 pairs of thermals when only 2 of them I can use right now.
Yeah.
And I'll probably share the links of the ones I'm using right now. Likewise with the fleeces. So always plan for the best possible affordable jacket, thermals and fleeces you can wear, right?
Yeah.
Anything specific on apparel?
Yeah, you're wearing a couple of those, which I'm not. And I think this is worth noting. Right now, it's not very bright out there, but this place gets super bright.
Yeah.
All times of the year, but specifically now, because there's so much snow around, you can get snow blindness. So the glares that you're wearing, and these are a special kind of glares, category 4 UV. So they give you protection. And snow blindness can be quite bad. The worst that'll happen to you is you won't be able to sleep.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the best that'll happen to you. The worst that'll happen to you is you will suffer vision problems, and that's not something you want to go back from a trip with.
100%. One of the people in our trip had to miss a day because his eyes was hurting. He was wearing eye drops and it's gotten better now. I've had eye pain through the day, which is why I'm still sort of wearing these glasses at the moment. So it's important to have category 4 or better glares here. Regular shades will not do. The average Ray Bans we have won't work here because it is exceedingly bright, and we've all had in some degree eye pain over the course of this, and one of us has had it quite bad.
Yeah.
What about the gloves?
Yeah, the gloves are the other one. So right now I'm just wearing a liner because it's not that cold. I
Yeah.
mean, minus 8 degrees, but not that cold. But you have the gloves that we are usually using. And I think these ones, you can probably show a close-up later. They actually allow your index finger and your thumb to come out. So they make it a little bit easier for you to have dexterity with your digits, right?
Yeah, so on gloves, always have 2 layers of gloves. We are always wearing gloves, sometimes even indoor, because it's quite cold here. There's no sort of central heating. And the inner gloves, it's important that it comes with some level of being able to operate a screen. Most of our cameras are touchscreen operated, so that's super important.
Yeah.
Any other piece of gear? Gaiters, maybe.
You're wearing them. It's
Yeah.
Gaiters. And today I've been wading through snow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it on camera. My shoes are dirty as. And then, of course, your socks get wet and your pants get
Yeah.
wet, and then you feel cold. The gaiters are an extra layer of protection.
Yeah, I underestimated how much walking in the snow we'd have in this trip, so I had not carried gaiters. I borrowed this from a friend on the trip. The thing about gaiters is that when you walk on snow, a lot of ice and snow gets into your shoes and gets into your socks. And despite our best efforts, we'll not be able to get rid of them fully, and that's what makes us feel really, really cold. Now, gaiters protect the snow from getting into our shoes when you're walking in really deep snow. So this is one of those things I ignored because in all the YouTube videos I saw people who were walking on very hard ice. I saw people walking in the ground. But in our case, on 3 of the 5 days we've been here, we've actually walked in quite deep snow. Despite the snow boots being as good as they are, I felt really cold after 2 p.m. or so, and I struggled for the last 3 hours in the field. So definitely carry gaiters.
For reference, I'm putting up a brave face right now, but my feet are shivering because I haven't worn gaiters all day.
Now, moving on to other precautions, given that altitude sickness and AMS are a real thing here, what are things people should do in terms of checkups before coming here?
Yeah, I'd say check with your physician for any medication that you need to take prior to this. This is not a medical channel, so we'll stop shy of talking about the exact medicines. But what I will say you should do is do something like what we did. We took 3 days to get here and gradually built up the altitude, right? And that gives your body a little bit of room to get to speed with this kind of climate and this kind of air. Really.
100%. So yeah, we all visited a doctor before we got here. We were all given almost the same medicine. We were all asked for a particular drug allergy to ensure that we can take that medicine. We took 3 days to get to 4,500 feet. We stopped at 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet, and then at 3,800 feet, and we got here almost on the 4th day, so to say. So that's super important. Despite which, one of us had to miss 2 days because his SpO2 levels were really low and his pulse rates were really high. Nothing of an emergency of sorts, but he was advised rest and he was advised a lot of fluid intake, which is easy to miss in this cold weather. I mean, it's a really dry place, but it's cold, so it's easy to miss that. So strongly recommend ensuring that you visit a doctor, ensuring that you get your sort of fluid intake in place. And even though we had acclimatized and even though sort of we had built our strength here before coming, even climbing a flight of stairs here would get me panting and short of breath. Over the 4 or 5 days, we've improved a little bit. We're able to do more steps. We're able to climb better and stuff, but still nowhere close to what it is at lower altitudes. So respect the altitude. Try not to push yourself too much in the first few days, and definitely visit a doctor before coming here.
And I'll say, give yourself time, because one of the things we are doing here is that the standard tour to this kind of place is about 6 days.
Yeah.
We've given ourselves an extra 3 days to account for the fact that you might fall ill, you might lose a day to altitude sickness. And so that gives you a little bit of wriggle room in your program.
100%.
Yeah.
What about photography gear?
Yeah, something that we've learned is that anything short of 600 mm is going to be inadequate.
Yeah, I'm going to rephrase that and say anything short of 600 plus 1.4 is going to be inadequate, right? And I think we need to respect that about this place. And there's 2 ways of looking at it. One of this is that we visit this place as much for the habitat as much as it is for the animals. So we're not going to get as close to a snow leopard as much as we'd get to a tiger in a tiger safari, in a tiger park. That is not going to happen. So I think one thing to sort of come to terms with is to understand that the best perspectives we get here, even with the 600 1.4, are going to be very, very beautiful scapes, because this habitat lends itself to some amazing scapes, whether it's on the snow or whether it's on those vertical rock faces that snow leopards are on. It lends itself to some great scapes, and that's what we're getting with the longest lenses. I'm in fact shooting on an 800 mm and mostly on my crop and not my full frame, because I need those extra here, despite which I'm not able to get as close to portraits. So I've given up on the endeavor of shooting portraits. We're all looking at scapes here. Another thing on gears is that even though we're all doing stills and even though we don't typically shoot with tripods, we've all carried tripods here. Now, why is that?
Well, it's very hard to spot snow leopards. Even if you know exactly where the snow leopard is, if you have to just lift up your camera and then find it in that zoomed in view, we're talking
Yeah.
about 800 mm or 600 mm,
Yeah.
right? It becomes very hard to find the exact crevice where it's sitting.
Yeah.
And you lose precious moments, especially if the animal is on the move. So, just for the practicality of that, if it's mounted on a tripod and positioned where you've spotted the snow leopard, it's an easier place for you to start your tracking, right? And then imagine you're waiting for hours. You can't be standing like this, right?
100%.
Your shoulders will sag, you'll lose energy. So having it on a tripod just makes it so much easier for you to photograph snow leopards. But even wolves, for example, we've seen wolves at a mighty distance.
Yeah.
And they move, right? They stay stationary in one place and all of a sudden they move quickly. And having your tripod trained there and then being able to move and pan with the subject is a big godsend.
100%. And just for context, whenever our spotters and guides have shown us a snow leopard, we've never really seen it with our naked eyes first. They point our camera in that direction, set it up, and they show it to us through the viewfinder. Then they give us a reference of where on the rock face it is. And then we look at it and then we're like, oh, there's the snow leopard. And it's so easy to lose it. So it's always important to have like a tripod so that your camera is tracking the leopard that's there, and you don't have to sort of really work your arms, or worse, lose track of where the leopard is when something interesting happens.
One hot tip is if you're in a group and one of you have lost sight of the leopards, then the best and easiest way to convey that information amongst yourselves is to take a shot of the scape
Yeah.
with a phone and then mark up the photo to show exactly where the snow leopard is, as again saying it's that ridge, and then spend 10 minutes
Yeah.
explaining which ridge you're talking about.
Because there's 20 ridges in the frame, there's 20 patches of ice in the frame, and so on and so forth, right? So, couple more points. One is the amount of time it takes to get from point A to point B, and therefore the amount of time it takes to move from one photography opportunity to another, right? So, when you're on a game drive, you are driving much faster than you are here. The density of wildlife is much faster. So, but here you can drive for maybe an hour without spotting anything. So we have to make peace with the fact that a good day for us is not going to be the same as a good day in a tiger park or an African game drive. A good day for us is very different. For example, we only saw Baral and we only saw ibex today, and it's still a good day because we spent about an hour with each of these species, made some good photographs, and we had to travel maybe 6 kilometers one way to see each of these species, right? So I think the one thing I'll say is it takes a lot of time to travel from point A to point B here, respect the distances, and be cognizant of the density of wildlife here. Everything we see here is unique, so even if we see the same things over a period of time, we can always make great photos of them because the habitat is beautiful, and recalibrate what a good day here might be given the density and distances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say something counterintuitive to what I said just a few minutes back about the tripod. When you get to slightly more accommodative species like the bharal or the ibex, which allow you closer, take your camera off the tripod then and give yourself a little bit of compositional freedom when you can move around, go up, go down, and actually cover distance on foot much easier with lightweight gear.
For sure. That's that, I think, unless we learn anything specific over the next 3 days. Hopefully not. I think we've had our fair share of surprises, but we will keep you all posted if there's any new learnings we have about hair or apparel or any other accessories that